Hi, welcome to Happy to Help You in Chemistry. Today, I will be explaining you collision theory and the factors that lead to formation of products. For example, look at the pictures on screen. You can see that there are some reactions which are very fast, like burning of paper, and some reactions that are slow, like rusting of iron. Whereas boiling of egg can take approximately up to 10 minutes. So, in our nature, we see there are different kind of chemical reactions around us. Some of them are very fast, very quick, and some of them are very slow. Like rusting of nail can take approximately 1 week time. So, what are we learning? We are learning about collision theory. How are these products formed? Collision theory states that atoms, ions, or molecule must collide in order to react. So, according to collision theory, the particles will react to form products if they collide with enough kinetic energy. If they don't have kinetic energy, they will not give you products. So, what is effective collision? For example, look at this chemical reaction where hydrogen molecules, which are shown in white color, are reacting with oxygen molecules to form what two molecules of water. When we say we have an effective collision, means the hydrogen molecules react with the oxygen molecules to form an activated complex. And this activated complex finally help you to get your products, the two water molecules. And what do you understand by ineffective collision? If my collision is ineffective, the molecules of hydrogen, the white color ones, and the red color, oxygen, you can see they are just bouncing or touching each other and going back in the same direction. They are unchanged after the reaction is over. So you can see finally the two hydrogen molecules and the oxygen molecule just came closer to each other, but in the end they are not changed. They remain same as reactants. Now what do you understand by if enough energy? Enough energy means I can explain you with the help of this diagram. Here, for example, A is my reactant. We should have enough energy to take it to the peak of mountain and then only it will be converted to a product B. If our reactants don't have the energy to climb up to the mountain, they cannot be converted into product. Okay, so enough energy means the minimum amount of energy which the reactant molecule must possess. Now, what is an activated complex or a transition state? Here is my activated complex on peak of this mountain. So, what it is? Let us see. An activated complex or a transition state is an unstable arrangement of atoms that forms for a moment at the peak of activation energy barrier. The activated complex forms only if the colliding particles have enough energy and correct orientation. So, if my colliding particles do not have enough energy or correct orientation, they cannot form an activated complex. Let us see this picture. Here I have two types of graph. On my left, I have an exothermic reaction, and on my right, I have an endothermic reaction. Now first, let us focus on exothermic reaction. Here, my reactants, the energy of the reactant, have to overcome this peak. This peak is the activation energy required by the reactants. When they have enough energy or they overcome this barrier, you can see on top of the peak they form an activated complex. After they reach the activated complex, they fall back and they form the product. If my energy of the product is lower than the energy of reactant, then we say it is an exothermic reaction. If my reactants are having lower energy than the energy of the product, then we say it is an endothermic reaction. Now let us look at the energy changes in endothermic reaction. Here my reactant needs more activation energy as compared to an exothermic reaction in order to attain the peak of the mountain. At the peak of the mountain, they have formed activated complex. And after they fall down from the activated complex, you can see the products are being formed. So here, the difference in the energy of product minus the energy of reactants will give you the energy gained by the reaction. Here, the energy of product is higher than the energy of reactants. That is why this graph represents the endothermic reaction. So remember, the activation energy barrier must be crossed before the reactants are converted into products, whether it is an exothermic reaction or an endothermic reaction. We have to cross the activation energy barrier in order to form the products. So let us summarize what we learned today. For a favorable product formation, the correct orientation to form the activated complex in the transition state is important, and they should have sufficient energy to overcome the activated complex barrier, which is the minimum amount of energy required for a reaction to occur. So, the particles must collide with effective collision if they have sufficient energy to overcome the activation barrier and the correct orientation. Then only they will form the products. So we have learned the two factors which lead to formation of products. Thank you.